Hello again, I'm Dan. Welcome back to Vinyl Fury. It hasn't been quite so long since my last video, which is nice. And I just have a few things to show from my inbox, as it were. Stuff that I've had for a little bit, but I've just been listening to as I get a chance. Except for this one, I've had this for a bit. It's one of the newer records that I've purchased in the last few months. And this one I've kind of wanted since I started collecting. It's one of those early millennium records that's been hard to come by on vinyl. This is Further Seems Forever, The Moon Is Down. Either way I go, I got a little bit of glare. This was recently reissued on Tooth and Nail Records. And it's, like I said, one that was hard to come by before. Just too expensive. For me, anyway. And it was finally reissued, which is nice. So this came out in 2001, yes, and like I said, was reissued a few months ago. Sounds pretty good on vinyl. I wasn't disappointed in the least. I listened to it on headphones. I thought it sounded pretty good. It's on white vinyl, as was the original pressing, if I'm not mistaken. This is definitely what you would call emo. The singer in this version of the band is Kris, who is probably most known for his solo endeavor called Dashboard Confessional, which he did after he left Further Seems Forever. And yeah, I think I got this from Amazon for $20 or so. Definitely much cheaper than an original pressing, which is more like $80. So it was nice to finally get this. A few used finds that I got fairly recently. This is Wayne Johnson, Arrowhead. This is on Inner City Records from 1980. So when I saw that, I figured this is probably some kind of like jazz fusion type stuff, and definitely is. You can see the cut corner here. So it's a promo copy. Yeah, definitely some cool jazz fusion. I really like the bass guitar work on this. Flynn Johnson, who I've never heard of, is on a 5-string bass. Wayne Johnson is the guitarist. I'm not sure if there's a relation there. I imagine there probably is. Yeah, this is cool. This is $2. I need to clean it, but other than that, it's cool. I love listening to records like this, especially pre-1983. You know they're tracked analog, and it definitely has that warmth and presence of analog tracking, especially with this jazz fusion stuff. It sounds really good when it's on vinyl, and you know that it was done that way. I love the way that sounds. This one I couldn't pass up. It's a 12-inch single for On Our Own by Bobby Brown from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. You can probably hear it in your head. This was a jam back in, what was this, 89? Yeah. Really cool R&B song from the late 80s from Bobby Brown. It's just this track, and I think there's an instrumental and extended version on one side. I haven't listened to it yet. It looked a little worn. Definitely been played by a DJ a couple times, but it's $2. So I definitely had to get that. Now this, for me, has been a grail. I've been looking for this every time, pretty much, I look in a soundtrack section at a record store. I look for this record because it's a movie that I watched a lot when I was younger. And you'll kind of get why. And it can be easily found on Discogs or eBay. And I've almost ordered it a few times, and for some reason I just never did. I think I was attached to the idea of finding it. I finally did, and for some reason I just had a weird feeling that I should look at the soundtrack section just in case. And I flipped through, I went to S, and it was the first one. And you know the feeling when you find something that you've been looking for a long time. It's been years that I've been looking for this record. The Secret of My Success which is a movie featuring Michael J. Fox from 1987. I watched this movie so much as a kid, mostly the TV version, the edited version. So when I saw it when I was older and I saw the full version, there was definitely a lot of stuff that was going over my head, sexual jokes and whatnot. But this is a gem of an 80s movie, in my opinion. I loved Michael J. Fox. I still do. I think he's fantastic. And this is a fun movie. If you've never seen it, check it out. And I always loved the music. It's mostly original stuff by David Foster, who's a name you probably know. He's done a lot of work in soundtracks and writing pop hits for people. And The Secret of My Success, the title track, is performed by Night Ranger, the 80s kind of hair pop metal group. I love that song too. Yeah, I really love the themes by David Foster. It's piano-based stuff, and I always really loved the sound of it. So I saw this, it was $5, and I was really happy to finally get it. I haven't played it yet, but it looked pretty good enough to get, and I got it, which is really cool. Okay, I'm going to try to finish this before my storage runs out again on my phone. This is another one that I found in Seattle the last time I was there. Another Sonny Stitt record. Smooth Sonny. I believe this is from the early 80s. Probably one of his last releases. And this one I was pretty disappointed with, unfortunately. It's a live record, which it doesn't indicate anywhere. I wasn't aware of that. And it's a poor recording, unfortunately. The tape sounds degraded. It's a poor recording, really. And especially there's I think it's a piano that's supposed to be mostly on one side, but it kind of bleeds over several times. Just the stereo separation is not very good, and it clips. It's really rough recording. It's distorted. It doesn't sound good. Sonny Stitt, he's doing his thing, and it's great, and I love his playing. This, unfortunately, just I'm pretty sure it's not the record. It's not like groove damage. I don't believe. I think it's the recording of the performance. I probably paid at least $8 for this, and that was too much. If I would have known what it really was, I probably wouldn't have got it. But I am on a quest to pretty much get anything Sonny Stitt, so I'll keep it in the collection. But it was a disappointment. And lastly, another one that I got fairly recently, another Ron Carter record. This is Yellow and Green. This is CTI 1976. Gatefold there. I think Billy Cobham's on drums on this. Yep. And another, bass forward jazz record. It is a white label promo. And that's also, you can see the cutout there. I don't really like when they do the cutout on the jacket itself, but I guess it adds a little character. I really enjoyed listening to this. This is my second Ron Carter record, and as a bass player, I really enjoy the kind of stuff that he does. There's a track where he plays 3 different kinds of bass guitar. Let's see, which one was it? Yellow and Green, the title track. Plays acoustic bass, electric bass, and piccolo bass, which piccolo bass has an interesting sound, and I don't know that I've ever even seen one. But this was $5, and normally I try to pay like $2 for these kind of records because it's the kind of thing that I don't know when I'll listen to it again, even though I like it. I get this kind of stuff fairly often when I go to record stores, especially if it's inexpensive. So I get a lot of it, and then it takes a while before I ever go back to it. So generally I like to spend less than $5, but because the last Ron Carter record that I got, I enjoyed so much, I figured I would like this as well, and I do. So that's it for records for now. I do have more, and I'm actually going to be showing a special one, probably in the next video. It should be. One that I was actually involved with, and that I'm pretty excited about finally being released. The album itself has been in the works for a long time, and it's the band's first release on vinyl, a band near and dear to my heart, and you may already know what it is, but I'll kind of save it. I've had the test pressing for some time, but the actual release is just around the corner, and I'll be picking up a copy of the final version tomorrow. So I'll be back with that pretty soon. But I figured some of you might be interested in this as well. There's a book I got. It's about Nick Drake. It's called Remembered for a While, and it is the authorized companion to the music of Nick Drake. And I didn't even know this book existed until a couple weeks ago. There's a special edition of it which comes with a 10-inch of the John Peel sessions that he did in the UK, which I had never heard before. And it's like cloth bound, and it has some signed material. It was just way too expensive, but fortunately the book is available on its own for a fairly reasonable price. I got it from Barnes & Noble for about $30. And it's a fantastic book. It's very in-depth. It covers his it's not a biography, it's collected material of his or about him, photos, letters to his family even, when I was reading those, which is in the first part of the book, it's almost like, should I really have access to this stuff? I mean, this is letters from private school when he was younger, letters home to his parents and his sister, and back and forth. I mean, it is cool to see kind of the groundwork of the person that he would become, and how his interest in music grows, and his language when he writes these letters. You can tell he's very well educated, very, very proper, and it gives me a little bit of insight as to how his music was so mature and full and deep as a young man, 20 to 24, 25 when he was making his records. Provided some insight in that, but like it's some pretty in-depth stuff. But it goes all the way, of course, through his recording career, and it'll show you a lot of promotional material, some stuff that's probably never been seen. There's actually a photo of him performing there, which I don't think I've ever seen before. A lot of photos, of course. Scans of handwritten lyrics. It's about 450 pages. And I'm only about 65 pages in. But a very cool book. It's beautiful, really. It's a really nice textured cover. And I'll be getting into this quite a bit in the near future. I'm in one of my Nick Drake phases that I go through every once in a while. It seems about every year and a half. I just get in the mindset where I have to listen to all his records and kind of delve back into the mystery that is he and his career and his music. Watch the couple of documentaries that are out there that are pretty good. Like Us Getting Too Few. That's a good one if you've never seen it. It's on YouTube in full. And like I said, I didn't know that book existed. It came out in 2014. So I was quite happy to know about that and to get it. So if you're a Nick Drake fan, or if you've never heard of him, I would certainly suggest checking out his music. It's a singer-songwriter, folk type artist. Generally considered an inspiration for people like Elliott Smith. That kind of darker, emotional material and kind of vibe, I guess. But that's not all it is. There's a lot of uplifting stuff, really, if you look at it. His lyrics and some of the tones of the songs. And he was a fantastic guitar player. So his finger picking is pretty incredible. But I just wanted to show that. And also a little DIY project that was inspired by Kris over at Dixieland Farm. he put a backing on his IKEA shelf, which I'd like to do someday, but he also had a pool noodle that he was cutting into sections and putting that in the back of the cubes so that the records wouldn't go all the way back. Which, I don't know if you can tell, but one of my LED lights has been flickering lately. So I'm going to turn that off. Not as much light there, but that's okay. So I looked into the pool noodle thing because I don't have a backing on my IKEA shelf, but I want the records to not go all the way back because they're not flush with the wall. You know, if there's a ledge on your wall, it's going to stick out a little bit in the back, and if you push your records all the way, they're going to be sticking out in the back of it. So I thought the pool noodle idea might work, except pool noodles are not all that cheap, especially in the off-season. So what I found was plumbing insulation that would wrap around pipes, which is pretty much the same thing. Not as thick, but basically the same stuff. And you can see this tears away and it's self-adhesive, so it will stick together. But I just wrapped some black duct tape around it as well. This is about 1 inch in diameter. Cut those just a little bit bigger than the cubes are wide, which is a tip that I took from Kris, so that it was a little bit bigger so that they would compress on the sides, so they would, really be snug in there and not just kind of fall all the way back. And then they worked pretty well. So I stuck one of these in the back of each cube, pushed the records back, so now they're only about 1 inch from the outside. So dust isn't falling on them in the back because they're not all the way pushed back. And that's much easier to keep them all at the same distance from the front. So if you have IKEA shelves, and I know a lot of you do, this kind of thing is worth looking into it. And wouldn't you know, I ran out of space again. Recording videos on an iPhone just takes up way too much space. Anyway, these are really inexpensive. I found them in 6-foot tubes for about $3 at Home Depot. So just wanted to share that bit of information with you if you find it useful. I will go now. Like I said, I'll be back with that special record that's coming out very soon, and I hope that some of you guys in the VC will find it worth getting. Like I said, that's a special record to me, and I look forward to sharing it with you all next time. See you then. Thanks for watching. Take care.